Alrighty, let's start over there, Spencer.
Okay, so I was just giving you guys a quick introduction of just some of my background. So after, while I was in high school, I took pictures, well no, I did a video for my sister at her wedding, and it was really funny because I didn't know what a wedding video even looked like, but she just cried for joy, and it was the greatest day ever when she saw the video. So I started doing it for real, and I went and got a business license with the state and with the county and did that for a few years. And through this, I was actually able to start networking. I got to know some photographers in the Valley, and they've given me some really good advice. And the number one thing they said was, if you want better video, you need to learn photo. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I know it's not quite as relevant to you guys, but I know that everybody here likes pictures. I mean, you go on Facebook, you look at pictures, right? Everybody loves their memories. And so that's why I wanted to teach you guys just a couple things about photo, that really basic stuff that I know as you use will just enhance your photography like crazy. So what was funny, my brother, he taught me math last semester. I'm really bad at math. I found my niche in this, but I suck at math. So the trade-off was, he teaches me math, I teach him photography. So I was able to actually think about this a little bit a few months ago. And so there's only two things I want to cover today. So I want to cover lazy pictures. You guys ever heard that term? Okay, because I made it up. And then I also want to cover framing. So people have heard that, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty basic. Things that I don't want to cover, I'm actually going to highlight two. I liked that clip in that video we saw last week where he talked about that. But I know there's a big war over Nikon and Canon. You guys heard about that? Everybody either likes Nikon or they like Canon. So we're not going to cover the right equipment because we could argue all day about that. And we also will not talk about money because we could talk all day about that. So I just want to talk real quick about lazy pictures and framing. So what I did was I took some pictures over the weekend, and I want you guys to analyze them for me. So just real quick, thankfully it was a holiday, so this is my sister and her two kids. This on the right is Kara. She was Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. My sister was the Good Witch, Glenna, and then my other niece on the left is Ella. She's a Dalmatian. So I want you guys to look at some of these pictures, and what we're going to do, we're going to split up into teams, and we're going to talk about what's good and what's bad about a picture. So I'm going to go over it real quick first. All right, I got another picture for you to look at real quick. So this right here, I had to take a lot of bad pictures for this activity we're going to do, and it about killed me. But this right here is what Spencer calls a grandma shot. All right, Todd, why do you think it's a grandma shot?
It's kind of a picture your grandma would take. It's very uncomfortable after you look back at it.
Anything specific about it that would remind you of your grandma? Steve? Is it Steve? Scott.
The angle is just looking down at a weird, too high of an angle for the little kids.
Right.
Picture of them.
Right.
Picture of the top of her head.
So this fits in the category of a lazy picture. When I see something cool, I just take it. I'm standing right here. I don't move myself at all, right? So one of the big questions we need to ask ourselves, where is the camera? Where is the camera in this picture? Like Scott said, you know, it's just your eye level. This is a human eye level. Now what makes this picture very uninteresting is this is what we see every day. This is 5'8" in height, looking down at something. This is every day for us, right? It's a very uninteresting angle. So another picture I want to show you about a lazy, or No, that's it. Okay. So talking about framing, right here. So what's framed up here? This is my brother playing with Kara, and nothing's framed up, right? Is Kara framed, or is Daniel, my brother, framed? Neither, right? You need to pick one. What's the subject? That's another big question you need to ask yourself. What is my subject? Okay, so we're gonna split into teams and talk about this right here. It's a little different, right? Let's hold these two together. What's the difference? What's the subject? Right. So in this picture, Kara isn't the subject. Daniel's the subject. Now something I want to talk about with framing is called the rule of thirds. Who's heard of the rule of thirds? Wow, a lot of you guys. All right. Isaac, can you briefly describe the rule of thirds?
Where you take one of the more interesting aspects of a picture and you put it in one of the top thirds, you cut it into what you're going to frame into thirds, length and width, and then you kind of put the interesting points in those where that intersects.
Right. So I didn't have a magic marker with me, but I kind of did this with this picture, if you see that. So we call these corners, there's 4 corners in the third. So these 4 corners, we call these PowerPoints. So like her eye is in a PowerPoint, and so is his eye, right? And that makes it a little more interesting, don't you think? Instead of her eyes being in the dead center of the picture, it's kind of off a little, but that looks really cool, right? You guys ever seen an interview with a favorite sports player or something, and he's looking, and there's kind of a distance between him and the end of the frame? You guys seen that? Okay. So those are some of the things I want to talk about with framing. Also, going back to this picture, Daniel's head's cut off, right? We call that headroom. Headroom. You got to give an appropriate amount of room in between the head and the finished part of the picture. So, like this picture, got a nice amount of headroom. You can tell that her head's finished, right? Unfortunately, we're going to talk about one more word. Lead room. Lead room. You need to give somebody lead. Where their nose and their eyes are pointed, you want a little bit of room after that. Doesn't that feel awkward? Kind of makes you a little uncomfortable. And this all has to do with communication. Like we're communicating visually. We're communicating our subject, and we're communicating feelings, memories, right? And so here, this just makes you feel kind of uncomfortable because you have no idea what she's looking at. Because there's too much space behind her and nothing in front of her. So when we're talking about framing, there's 3 things. There's thirds, headroom, and lead room. And so what I have actually planned for a few more people to be here. But I wanted you guys to get into some groups. I'm going to hand out a couple pictures to each group. There's some questions on the back of the picture, and I want you guys to answer as a group. It talks about this. What is the subject? What's the framing look like? And so I'm going to give you guys about 3 minutes. I guess you guys could just be in groups of like 4. You guys want to get in groups of 4. And then you'll look at each picture. Give you a couple minutes to answer the questions. Look at that. You guys are awesome. Thanks. So here's your 2 pictures. You guys just discuss that for a couple minutes. Yeah. Okay, so you guys are going to answer the questions and tell the class about one of your pictures, okay? You guys ready? Yeah, you get 2. You're gonna report to the class on one of your pictures, okay?
What is the subject?
Tell us about the framing.
Where am I?
Where is the camera? Any kind of tilted
let's see, we can center that up. It's good. It works really well.
Feel free to jump in.
But it is kind of
And there's just a frame of it takes up a whole
Okay, you guys got one more minute, and then you guys are going to discuss your pictures.
you don't really.
That picture was better looking upward.
All right. Okay.
Where is the camera?
Are you guys about ready to return and report? Okay. You guys wrapping it up?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have just one person talk about one of your pictures. Answer the 4 questions. Yeah, just pick one. Okay. What was your name again? Tiffany, that's right.
Okay, so this is our picture for our group. We think it is a good picture because it has adequate amount of headroom and lead room, and the angle of the camera is a good angle. We like it.
Kind of eye level. You guys like
A little
that?
bit above eye level.
So is this a lazy picture?
I wouldn't say so because, I mean, if it was lazy, you'd be a lot taller, right?
Yeah, I'm not as tall as Kara. Okay, what's the next question? Tell us about the framing, Tiffany.
Is that the head and lead room?
Right, so
That's good.
So we think it's adequate because she's kind of faced this way a little bit, and it's got lead room over here. The lead room is not behind her back, and the headroom is pretty good.
okay. Anything else you want to add about this picture, Tiffany?
No.
You guys like it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right, this one was not vetoed. Okay. Scott, your group want to tell us real quick?
If I can, so this is our picture. We thought it was a fairly good picture because it, what we noticed on the pictures, the camera drops down to their eye level even though they're sitting on the couch. And even though the father isn't looking at the camera, the kid's not looking at the camera, it feels like it's down with them. We thought the subject was the girl because the father was looking at her. The one thing for lead room, we thought could be a little bit wider out so you're not cutting off the back of her head.
Very good.
Other than that, it was a good picture.
All right, thanks. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, super quick.
Okay, we have 2 pictures.
Just show us one.
We're not sure what the subject is exactly. The material would be the present
Right.
if it was dropped down.
You guys see how much?
If we got down to their level a little more. I'm not talking about this one?
We'll just talk about one.
Okay.
You need to look at it?
Where is the camera? The camera's a little above them and to the side. I'll let you
Okay. Okay, one more.
This is our picture. Subject is the little girl. The camera is pretty much at her level, we decided. We did not like the framing because the headroom is bad, obviously, and then it cuts off her feet, so we felt like that was really odd.
You gotta see Dorothy's shoes.
I know.
Yeah, true. So that's the main thing. We thought if the camera was pulled out a little bit and you could see all of her, that would be a little better.
Right.
Or if it was focused in a little closer on one part of her, that would be better.
All right, thanks so much. See, I'm glad your group picked this picture because here's where I definitely used a rule. I got down to her eye level, right? Still a bad picture. So you got to remember a few different things. But yeah, these two things, I promise you guys, everything will, like your pictures will look a lot better if you just implement a few simple things. See a little kid, get down on your knees. If you give them the proper amount of headroom, you won't be producing grandma pictures. So, any feedback? You guys like the activity? Did it help? You guys think you can implement some of this? Okay. Yeah. So I didn't get to this. This is just home video hints. I actually didn't even want to talk about this, but it's a really good handout if you guys want it. Just good things to use in the future that I know as you guys have kids or nieces or nephews. If you just use that with those hints with your camera, it'll help a lot. So thanks, guys.